Manchester United have a new manager. Here he is.
Eu sei o que tenho aqui é difícil reproduzir noutro sítio e faz parte também da nossa vida, porque há outros sítios com outra exposição, com outra pressão, e eu entendo que não seja possível recriar aquilo que nós tivemos aqui. I feel ready for the new challenge. I'm not naive. I know that it's going to be very, very different, very tough, but I feel that I'm ready. I'm in peace now. I can focus on my new job, and I'm looking forward for start tomorrow.
Frank LeBoeuf is here, as is Mark Ogden. Mark, it took you longer than people expected to drive Ten Hag out. How long are you going to give Amorim?
Come on, Dan, he's not even started yet. Do me a favour. He's still waiting for his visa to arrive. No, I think United have got the real deal in Amorim. I think for once they've got a guy who's on the way up. They've not appointed somebody who's past his sell-by date or who's got a checkered track record. I think this guy has got everything you need. Apart from the fact he's players, he's got all the talent you need, all the credentials. But he's going to have a tough job making that squad work to his demands because it's a squad that doesn't really fit his system. He's got a lot of players who are out of contract in the summer, but I think he's got the energy and he's got the ambition, and I think he's got the tactics to make United better. And let's be honest, they're only 4 or 5 points off the top 4 anyway, so it's not the worst situation he could have inherited, but his squad isn't the best that he could, he would have hoped for a better squad.
They've got a bit of momentum now, obviously, after what happened under Ruben Amorim. Van Nistelrooy is gone, because after your advice, you said, don't trust him, he'll stab you in the back. And Amorim was watching and went, right.
You're right, it is only Tuesday. I suggested that the new coach probably wouldn't want him.
Yes, so, and that's exactly what.
But wasn't to Yogi's point about this guy looks like it could be the real deal? Wasn't Ten Hag the real deal?
Yeah, exactly. There was a lot of excitement. Ten Hag stepping up, obviously, to Cristiano Ronaldo. I think people were quite impressed that he decided, look, this is my way, this is my team. And then it fell apart quite quickly, Mark, and I suppose that's the fear of anyone coming into Manchester United. Yes, obviously, there's a lot of pomp and ceremony coming into one of the biggest clubs in the world, but he mentioned it, you are under the spotlight more than any other club in England.
Yeah, but I think we've seen already from his press conferences in Lisbon and the few glimpses we've seen of him, on the touchline, he's got the charisma and the presence that Erik Ten Hag didn't have. I don't think Erik Ten Hag was ever comfortable in that situation, in that scenario. So I think Amorim at least has a personality to deal with it, and I think he's got the confidence and the charisma, I guess, again, which Erik Ten Hag didn't have. But you're right, Man United is a very big club and it's a very demanding club, and they've got a new regime in charge now who wants success. But I do think that they are making the right moves, and I think they did hold on to Ten Hag for too long. But I think despite that, they've managed to find a solution here, which works. They've got a guy that a lot of other clubs wanted. So yes, I think it's the 5th or 6th permanent appointment since Sir Alex Ferguson. I've lost count now, but I think every other manager they've appointed since Sir Alex Ferguson, they've appointed for the wrong reasons. David Moyes was 6th or 7th choice. People at United have confirmed that now, that he wasn't the first choice. Louis van Gaal had been out of the club game for 4 or 5 years. It was no longer a club manager. He'd been with the Dutch at the World Cup. Jose Mourinho was a response to Man City hiring Pep Guardiola. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was just the wrong choice. It was just an interim that went wrong. And then Erik Ten Hag, you say he was the up-and-coming manager. He's actually older than David Moyes was when he took the job at United. So he was in his 50s. He wasn't a young upstart that, maybe Amorim is. So I just think that everything is coming together with Amorim, and he's got credentials and track record of recent success right now. And I think United's players as well will look at him as somebody they can identify with. I think, he's 39. I think a lot of those players felt that Ten Hag was a little bit of a distant figure, almost like a school teacher figure that they didn't kind of gel with. I think Amorim has got that. He's got that closeness to the players in terms of age that will work in his favour. He's a week older than Cristiano Ronaldo, so that shows you how young he is.
Oh, very positive, Mark Ogden.
Is he bringing all his entourage, Joggy? Is he?
He's bringing his staff, which is another reason why Van Nistelrooy went. But some clubs want managers to come in and work with the existing staff they have. Other clubs are prepared to let them come in with their kind of the band of brothers almost. But I guess, if the guy's been successful with his group of coaches, then you have to back him with that. It's when the coaches want to bring their staff with them that haven't been so successful, it's a different matter. But if Amorim's been successful at Sporting with 5 or 6 coaches that he trusts, then it would be crazy not to have those same coaches come in. So that's what they've done. Again, big outlay in terms of finance to pay these guys and to pay off the the Dutch guys that came in only in the summer. I think 4 have left this week as well as Van Nistelrooy. So, yeah, a bit of a revolving door at United in terms of coaches.
Frank LeBeuf. I was going to get Frank in.
No, we'll thank him now and wrap the show up.
Thank him. No, Frank hasn't spoken yet.
Yeah,
no?
but that's fine. Thank him and wrap it.
That's the quietest Frank's ever been. What would you like to say, Frank? If you're a player, you're excited by the rhetoric coming from your new coach?
Well, you're always excited, and especially when you go through a bad time, and you want to find better. You want somebody to find a solution, and maybe a miracle, because it's becoming a miracle in a way that we all know that it's not all depending on the coach. It's also depending on the players, and some players have to step up and show their real strength. I'm talking about Rashford. Fernandes seems to be back, maybe, but also De Ligt, who just signed, Marzaoui as well. So many players have to show to the coach that they're going to be ready to follow him, and they're gonna give their best. Otherwise, no miracle is going to happen. They're going to carry on being average, because a coach cannot do anything. He cannot push the players to be better if they don't want to. So wait and see. He has the charisma, as Ogie said, and he has also something good. He beat just Manchester City just before coming to Manchester, so United. So fans are already really happy with him, and so hopefully he's going to carry on.
Van Nistelrooy, of course, has left United in a much better state from when he took over when Ten Hag left. We saw a 3-0 win against Leicester. Garnacho with the final goal in that game. What's up with Garnacho? We heard Bruno talking afterwards, Mark, about the fact that he didn't feel love from certain segments of the crowd. That's why he didn't celebrate.
Yeah, so it's not so much the crowd. It's social media. It's YouTubers, people who've criticised him for a response he gave to a fan outside Old Trafford. It is really strange. It's a modern era thing. It's something that the guys in the panel would not probably have encountered during their playing days. But it's footballers these days, they look at their phones the minute they get off the pitch, and they see reaction on YouTube or on Twitter, and they don't like it. But that's the explanation. But I would be a little bit concerned because he is their star young player right now, and he was at the Ballon d'Or ceremony a couple of weeks ago, and I guess he's been there and he's been around, your likes of Barcelona, Man City, PSG, not Real Madrid because they weren't there, obviously. But I think he'll have seen other players, other clubs, getting the big time treatment that maybe he wants to get. And I'm not saying he's unsettled, but I think he's the one player that could become unsettled and we could be kind of tempted away because he's a young star. He's from Madrid. He's obviously plays for Argentina, but he's been brought up in Spain. So I'll be a little bit concerned, but I don't think Garnacho's ready to move yet. But I do think that he's one of those players that United have to keep an eye on, in the sense that at some point he may get frustrated if the progress of the club isn't quite what he expects. But yeah, it's just a silly kind of reaction. Well, not on his part, but silly reaction from fans in terms of the criticism that players get these days, and some take it personally. I think it was a strange reaction not to celebrate a goal just because of one YouTube video.
But it's also strange in the sense that he has been one of their better players in troubled times.
Yes, yeah.
And yet some people still feel the need to if he has a bad game or he makes a mistake, then some people, idiots, mainly jump on it. So you shouldn't let that affect you.
No, I mean, it's a brilliant goal. There you are, take that.
Exactly.
Stupid YouTuber.
We've sat here time and time again and kind of said...
Not that idiot on YouTube.
If we were players...
It's not him.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know.
If we were players in today's era, we wouldn't have social media. I mean, it makes so little sense. But listen, I get the attraction of it. But you have to realise that just because somebody has an internet connection doesn't make them relevant. Doesn't mean that I have to kind of harbour on everything they say and take offence to things that they may say. At some point, you've got to mature, and I know he's only a young man, but at some point as a footballer, you've got to mature in recognising that. Otherwise, you would just be listening to all the naysayers who really shouldn't be having the kind of impact on your career that he has. So for me, that's on Garnacho, because people aren't going to stop being critical. People aren't going to stop streaming or whatever it is they do. That's just the era we're in. If you're protecting your peace as a footballer, you've got to stop that.
I couldn't be on. I mean, if we were playing now, I couldn't be on social media. It would drive me absolutely nuts.
Yeah.
I mean, it was bad enough back in the day when the Augies of this world were giving you 3 out of 10.
Well, yes.
And the
On
paper...
teletext. On teletext.
Never gave you 3.
Pick up the paper. Pick up the paper, and if they're giving you 3 out of 10, that was a good week. It was like, in fact, we used to pull people about that.
Yeah, I know.
When I was at Celtic, we used to see the marks and say, 4 out of 10.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Pull the jump.
But Frank, you're doing a play at the moment in Paris, and there's been a lot of nice things said about it, but some really horrible, nasty comments, particularly about your acting. It's difficult not to take it personally, isn't it?
Wait, that's you.
Well, first, it never happens. You know, they never criticize my acting. No, but you know what? I don't read it. I don't read it, and I don't care. I stopped reading newspapers when I was like 23, 24, because people have the right to say whatever they want. We have the right to not read it and to not care, and especially social network. I mean, Garnacho is showing interest to people who have no credit whatsoever to express their thought. They don't know anything about football. They don't know what Garnacho is going through, and they give their opinion, and the guy listens to them and is not happy when he scores a goal. You don't care. Those people shouldn't represent anything for you. You respect them, they do whatever they want, but don't read them, because they're useless. They don't know what they're talking about. Like many things, we are criticized by what we say in the ESPN FC show, how I play in the theater. I don't care. I only give credit to experts, and the experts are my boss, and before maybe the journalists, but none the people in the social networks. Come on.